Okay, so hey, I'm Madan Parthasarathy and I'm a product designer. I love talking about design. So today we're going to be talking about the approach on building portfolios. And I really recently had this conversation with a junior, and we were talking about, okay, how do I approach this? And from somebody who's past that stage, and when I was in that stage, I asked a lot of seniors. So I have a few thoughts and a few ideas that I was telling them. And I thought, hey, why not share that to you guys, right? So first off, yeah, the first of the the thing that I told him was, hey, just go with the template, right? Get a template. My portfolio was done on Framer, so there was tons of free templates online. I went with a template because I'm a product designer primarily, and we work from an industrial background is where I came from. So I'm not the best in web development, right? I'm kind of noob in web development. So it was way easier for me to kind of look and lean on somebody else who was an expert on it and get way better return of investment on it. So, and I told him about that. As long as you give like credit to the user, like who created the template, you're cool, you're chill, like it's fine. The templates are meant to be used. And the second thing is, kind of realized that I should be spending more time on the actual projects rather than all the time creating the look and feel of my website. So that's what I did, right? And in that phase where I had a lot of submissions going on and I had to start applying online, this kind of helped relieve a lot of the effort, a lot of time that I could have been using elsewhere. Right? And also another tip that I got from an interview, now that I'm talking about time and time related subjects, another tip that I got was when I was interviewing somebody, somebody gave me this feedback, which is have three versions of the same project, which is a 30-second version, a 15-minute version, and a 45-minute version. 30-second version is kind of what you guys call an elevator pitch. It's where you have a very limited time. It's when you're in an elevator and you have to tell the person next to you about your project, right? And that's great for like short, sweet introductions to projects just to test the waters if people like it or not. Now, the 15-minute version is a bit more elaborate in the sense that it explains a lot of the context, it explains what you're doing, and a lot of the results and how you got to it. And this is great for like an intro round where you have the first round of interviews and people just want to get to know you, know what you actually did in this project. Now, the 45-minute version is a bit more intense, and it's the version that you talk about in the technical interview side of things, where you have to sit down and take them through each step, explaining what exactly you did and how you did those things, right? Now, for the 30-second thing, I usually have an asset on my phone because usually these interactions do happen while I'm just passing somebody or I'm telling something, hey, this is something cool I did over the weekend, right? So for my keyboard projects, it's just pictures. It was just a gallery of pictures. If it was a very good animation project or something, I would have a reel that I was posted on my Instagram or something. I would just show that. I would just be able to pull that up in 30 seconds and show them and give them enough context to take like to be able to impress them basically. In the 15-minute version, I'd have a PDF, like a small PDF that I kind of take them through the step by step in a process, like in a very short number of steps, explaining what I did and how I got to those places. This is great because it gave a skeletal base for me to explain in interviews, and I could actually course correct and take the interview in a defined path that I wanted to, and I was already fixated previously, and I was ready for it. So that helped a lot. Now the 45-minute one is kind of different. So what I did was I cleaned up my entire Figma file and like all my dumps of whatever research I did, took all the papers that I read, put them all on Figma, and I used the 15-minute PDF as like a skeletal base and split the Figma file into sections, right? I was like, hey, this is the step one, step two, learnings, the outcomes, the what I did, the process. And the reason I'm using a Figma file and is because a lot of the people on the other end of the interview, in the 45-minute technical interview, are also designers. And they would love to see how in-depth, how technical you've gone into it, right? Because I've had people stop my interview, be like, "Hey, can you click on it? I want to see how you auto layouted this, or how you've kind of created this setup. Like, is it responsive?" And that's a great segue into that if you show them the actual Figma file. And Figma files are great for optimization, and it's great for taking like extra comments, right? Now, yeah. So another thing I suggested strongly about with templates is it helped me put analytics. So a client that I was working for, the company at that time I was working for, we had paid analytics, but the actual website wasn't ready. So I used their analytics on my site for a while. And what I figured out is that nobody even looks at my portfolio. I was very, very hurt because I assumed that the portfolio that I handcrafted and spent hours and hours on, recruiters would actually like care, they'd give a fuck. They'd be like, hey, oh wow, this guy's actually put some effort into it, read it. But that's not the case. They literally spend 3 seconds and then they're just gone, right? You need to be able to capture that attention. And I couldn't believe that. I was not ready to accept that fact. But it makes a lot of sense considering like how Instagram Reels, TikTok is. It's very easy to just swipe away if you don't like something, right? So they just scroll past without consideration. So there's a few things that I actually did to solve that issue, which is first things is I try to optimize the entire content on the website to be the shortest amount of uh, text as possible because I didn't want to be very text heavy because it's kind of hard and it's visually complex for people. So I used AI, and what I did was I put everything. I was like, "Hey, ChatGPT, can you tell me how do I say this in 2 sentences?" Took those 2 sentences, typed them in my own words, in my own format, and what that helped is it gave a very crisp, very juicy statement of what exactly needs to be said without the extra fluff, right? Secondly, and I think this should be the more important part, spend all your time, every single ounce of effort on visuals. Because graphics is what gets people hooked on something. And it's very, very important. So when I was telling this junior that I was talking to, I was like, hey, go pay our mutual friend because the mutual friend is very good at renders. I was like, dude, pay him. It's worth it to get the visuals amazing because that's the first thing that people will look at. So spend all your time on visuals, like spend 80% of your time on visuals. Now, third thing is have some sort of quirky element, right? You don't want to be, now that you use the template, you don't want to be the another fish in the entire sea, right? You want to be able to stand out and let that play into your strengths. For me, it was keyboards, right? So on my webpage, I've made it so that I have keyboards showcasing it. I like building it and I like showcasing it. So I've kind of showcased that. And it's a good talking point. It's a good way of, hey, you know what, this guy actually does something. And he's very, like, he has a well-rounded individual, right? We don't want to be a person who's like, oh, I just made this portfolio only because I have to, like, get a job, right? That's not what we want. Yeah, I mean, it is what we want, but it's not what something we should aim for, right? And the last thing is, templates actually helped me build MVPs when I didn't have a defined direction. What do I mean by that? So coming from an industrial background, I kind of made the switch into UI UX design. And now that I think of myself as a product designer, I solve all design related problems. I had a moment of like, I still have a moment where I'm like not exactly sure of what direction I did. And having different portfolios is like an MVP for throwing it at people and seeing what sticks, right? So actually, I do have 5 live portfolios that are actually that somewhere. I have a keyboard portfolio, I have a UI UX portfolio, I have a product design focused portfolio. I have a very old Behance that has a lot of sketches and a very like crude stuff. And I have this one Notion page that I made for a certain company. I sadly didn't get into it though. But I had all of this because I could kind of fine tune it and kind of get into the nitty gritties and define something that is very related to that company and that role that I was trying to apply for. So yeah, so if you want to see like more easy ways to build portfolios, I have another video on that. Go check that out. And let me know how it is. Also, this is a new style that I'm kind of working on. It's a bit more raw and it's kind of has that feel of, okay, I'm just taking you through my process and I kind of like it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this style and cool. I'll see you guys in the next one.